Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, past, present, or future. This is Cardfight Empire here today with another segment of our Future Fight Vanguard series. So today we're going to be talking about Yasui deck, Ninja Boys, as we call them. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Um, While I am flipping over my G Zone, I will mention as usual that if you would like to donate to the channel or support the channel in any way, you can check out all the things in the description down below. There's hoodies, there's the Patreon. The Patreon has cool little things embedded in it, like being able to see my videos a week ahead, getting entered into a raffle for a booster box, and all that stuff. But I'll let you guys check out that stuff down below. And we're getting right into this Yasuie build. So we have the new Yasuie here. It is leagues better than the old Yasuie in my opinion. Partly because you don't have to have any, like, if your board gets wiped, this Yasui is not bad. Or, sorry, this Yasui is not bad, and this one is bad if your board gets wiped. So it's kind of like when you're playing Luard or Messiahs or anything like that. Like, you don't really want your board to get wiped before you're able to get to your turn and use your stride skill. So, the whole reason why the new Yasuie is good is because it just says unit and not rearguard, which means that you can select your Vanguard as the card that you're choosing to copy and then get one of these from your deck and play it on the rearguard circle. And then not only that, it gets an additional skill in addition to the skill it already has. So it's a very good card. So basically Vanguard, rearguard, Shadowstitch. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked a Vanguard, if the attack did not hit, you draw a card, and then you choose a card from your hand and you put on the bottom of your deck. Now, this effect is on two of the cards, actually, that is in the deck, the new Yasui and the new Yasui Stride, Yasui Goma. So, the skill actually reminds me a lot of Erwater, the Gear Chronicle unit, that makes Gear Chronicle so strong. Except the only difference, literally, is that it doesn't draw two, and it doesn't shuffle. So if you got to put back and shuffle, would be pretty cool. But it allows you to like recycle triggers. You get to check them, and if they're still in your hand, you can just put them back into your deck while you're doing this skill. So that's pretty good. Then you have Old Yasui. We're purely running it because you don't want to be not on a Yasui Vanguard because you have skills that activate when you're on Yasui Vanguard. And this Yasui, basically the only useful part of it is when you counterboss one, you can choose a unit on your field and call two units from your deck with the same name as that unit, basically Shadow Clone no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu, yeah. Basically Shadow Clone Jutsu, and then at the end of the turn, you get to put them to the bottom of your deck. So we have one of the new grade 2s here, Stealth Rogue of Envy EQ. So what EQ does is it has Shadowstitch Generation Break 1. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked a Vanguard, you can choose one of your units, it gets 2k power, and then it gives the unit that you choose the ability to attack from the back row. So it's very good, very, very good in my opinion, because when your opponent's at 5 damage, you can basically have 2 of these in the front row and 2 attackers in the back row, and you can go attack, give 2k and attack from the back row, attack, and then give another back row unit the ability to attack, so you can at least get 4 attacks off if you don't check stand triggers. So it's very, very good. Now we have Force Stealth Dragon Yashabayashi. So this is a unit that by itself can attack from the back row. If you have Yasui in the Vanguard name, which is why we were talking about why having Yasui Vanguard is so important. Because if you have a grade 4 or greater Vanguard with Yasuie in its name, this card can attack a Vanguard from the back row. And even though we do run strides that have Yasui in the name, 2 different ones, for those turns where you want to go like Shibaraku Buster or Hamura Raider, you still want to have a Yasuie heart so that you can still have a Vanguard with Yasuie name. Um, and when this card's placed on Rearguard Circle, you can Soul Blast 1, it gets 2,000 power, and then it gets a Shadowstitch skill that says you countercharge 1. So it's a good countercharge for your deck. So you can countercharge 1, choose one of your units, and they get plus 2,000. Plus 2,000 is not really important unless it's like a 9k. That's going to 11, so... Ooh, sorry guys. But yeah, unless it's like a 9k going to 11, it's not really that important. And then we do run 4 of the 11k grade 2 Fudo Blast. So what Fudo Blast does is, first it has like kind of like a restraint like skill, and it kind of has to, or it would be like way too powerful pretty much. But if there's no unit with the same name as this unit on the field, you cannot attack the Vanguard. So you might ask, oh, well, why would I run this card if I can't attack the Vanguard on Vanguard or Rearguard Circle? Well, when you go to grade 2 and you ride this, you can counterboss 1 and choose a card from your hand and discard it, and then you get to search your deck for a Fudo Blast and call it to Rearguard Circle. So it kind of ensures on turn 2, if you have it, that you're always going to be able to like rush your opponent with it, and then you're going to be able to sit on an 11k base Vanguard. So that's very good. We run 2 Stride Fighter, pretty basic. Usually we run like 3 to 4, but there were new grade 1s that I wanted to run more, so I cut the Stride Fighter down. So you run 2 Stride Fighter, 4 Heron, the unflip PG, 3 Tanba. So Tanba allows you to basically not deck out like ever. So at the end of the battle, that any of your units attack to Vanguard. If the attack did not hit, then you can choose a normal unit from your drop zone, put it to the bottom of your deck, and this unit, like meaning Tamba itself, gets 3,000 power. So it's very, very good because you can even have this card in the front row as an attacker and have 2 units attack. Like, let's say that you have EQ, and then behind that you have Yasuie. So EQ attacks your opponent, is at 5 damage and blocks it. Then you give this skill to attack from the back row, so then you attack with Yasuie, and then Tanba, both times that those didn't hit, it got 6k, so it went to 13k, so you can just attack with Tanba. And that's if you didn't attack with your Vanguard first, because if you attack with your Vanguard first and your opponent blocks it, then this becomes 16k, so it's just very, very good. It also allows you to put back those pieces into your deck that get destroyed by your opponent, so you can efficiently copy. So it's very good. Then you have Stealth Dragon, Oni Bayashi. You always run around for this card. It's like so good in my opinion. So at the end of the battle, so this card is like kind of confusing to some people, because at the end of the battle that your unit attacked to Vanguard, if the attack did not hit, then it gets a skill, and then when your attack does hit, then it gets to activate that skill. So basically the way that it works is, on the first turn of the attack, let's say that I'm attacking with a grade 2 boosted by a grade 1, right? They attack, the grade 1 is Onibayashi. So if the attack hits, you cannot activate the skill then. One of your units has to get blocked first, basically, or be low enough power to not hit, for this card to get the skill that allows the on-hit skill to activate. So basically, whenever your unit doesn't hit, it makes Onibayashi gain a skill, and then it says when your unit's attack does hit a Vanguard, you can put this unit into your soul, and if you have a Vanguard with the Shadowstitch ability or Yasuie, which you should always have, then you draw a card and countercharge 1. So it's very, very good. It reminds me of a better Jeffrey from Gold Paladin, because you get to countercharge 1. And it also fills your soul too, so that's good. We run Onifundo as the starter. So Onifundo says Soul Blast 1 and return this unit to your hand, and then at the beginning of your main phase you can activate it, and then you look at the top 3 cards from your deck, you search 1 card, call it to Rearguard, and then you shuffle your deck, and at the end of the turn, the unit called with this ability goes back to the bottom. So classic Murakumo clause on the inside of it, where it goes to the bottom at the end of the turn. But it's very good because Onifundo itself bounces to your hand, so it gives you an extra 10k guard against like any deck, which is, you know, guard is always useful. And then it also gives you a unit for it as well. So not only do you start off at the beginning of the game with Onifundo for free, but you get another unit and you get the 10k shield to your hand. So it's very, very helpful. We run 4 of the Yasuie crit, very basic. 4 Cat Devils for more like soul fodder. I use a lot of soul in this deck between like Yashibiyashi and Onifundo if you choose to use it multiple times. So these 2 crits are good because of soul and yeah, and because of drawing cards. This one specifically. Then we have 4 Hidden Scroll. So the reason why we play Hidden Scroll is because we run Hamura Raider, and basically Hidden Scroll just makes it so that whenever I want to Hamura Raider my opponent, Hidden Scroll is always there to make the cost doable for me. So Hidden Scroll, what it does is when you place it on Rearguard, you can put this card on the top of your deck, and then you choose a card that's not named Hidden Scroll, and you get 2 cards from your deck with the same name as that unit, call them to Rearguard Circle. So basically, what you can do is you can get a Hidden Scroll, use the skill on Yashibiyashi, call 2 Yashibiyashis from the deck, attack with 1 from back row, attack with another one from back row, attack with the front one, and then you can use Hamura Raider skill to attack, and then at the end of the battle, you choose 3 of your rearguards with the same name, you put them back into your deck, you shuffle, and then you get to restand Hamura Raider and attack again. So it's very, very good, very amazing. It's a really good ploy for when your opponent's at 5 damage, but sometimes you might just want to go for the Shadowstitch plays instead. So then we have 4 Cute Cat, Oyama Cat heal trigger. Moving on to the G Zone, we have 4 Yasuie Goma. So Yasuie Goma is the brand new stride from G-BT10. Yasuie Goma is the first stride that allows you to play a stride on the rearguard circle. So basically, to use its skill, you flip a Yasuie Goma, and then you can choose up to 2 face-up cards with Yasuie in its card name from your G Zone and call them to separate rearguard circle. Now, a lot of people don't really pay attention to this, but you can call Yasuie Timba to your rearguard circle because it is another stride with Yasuie in its name. So it just says that you can choose 2 face-up cards with Yasuie in his name from your G Zone and call them to separate rearguard circle. However, if you want to call Yasuie Timba to the rearguard circle, that would mean that you have to have already used Yasuie Timba at least once. So, and considering all of these are like Generation Break 2, this is pretty much always your first stride, Yasuie Goma. So the first stride, you'll flip a Yasuie Goma, and then you'll call just 1 Yasuie Goma, which should be fine because it gives you a full board of attackers already between the on-stride skill of new Yasuie and Yasuie Goma here. So Yasuie Goma also has a Vanguard skill that says at the end of the battle that your unit attacked a Vanguard and the attack did not hit, you get to draw a card, choose a card from your hand and put it on the bottom of your deck. So it has the same skill as the grade 3 Yasuie here, which is very good because they stack. So if this Yasuie is on your rearguard and you attack with it and it doesn't hit and Yasuie Goma is on your Vanguard circle, then you can draw 2 cards and put 2 cards on the bottom of your deck. So it's very good recycle, etc. So we have another one of the really strong strides of this deck that also needs soul, which is why we were talking about fueling the soul with the crits and stuff like that. So Shibaraku Buster is Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 2, and then choose a card from your hand and discard it, and then you get to choose a card from your drop zone and return it to your deck, which can be a trigger. So this deck probably has like a lot of probably out of all the decks I've ever played, it probably has the most ways to return triggers to your deck from anywhere, except for gears, of course, but they're gears, you know. A normal deck, I should say, has a greater chance of returning triggers to your deck. But you choose one of your units, and you select a card with the same name as that card, and then you can copy it, and then at the end, until the end of the turn, this unit gets the ability to drive check during the first battle of this turn. And then at the end of the turn, you put it on the bottom. So what this means is, since you choose a unit, you can also choose your Vanguard and call out a Yasuie. And if you call a grade 3 and it gets the ability to drive check, grade 3s have twin drive, so you do get to twin drive. So the only downside is you have to attack with it first. It's not like the new blaster support that we've seen, where you just get to get twin drive when that unit attacks. It has to be the first attack of the turn, which is unfortunate. But you do, we do run stand triggers, so when you do attack with it and you check a stand trigger, you can just stand it and it's still attacking your opponent. So for those of you that didn't know. Then we run 4 Yasuie Tenma. So Yasuie Tenma says, it's basically one of those like cards I'll only go into when they're at 5 damage. So Yasuie Tenma says you can flip a Yasuie Tenma to activate the skill, and then at the end of the turn, this unit gets Shadowstitch. Counter boss 1, at the end of the battle that your unit attacked a Vanguard. If the attack did not hit, then you can pay the cost, and you can search your deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as the unit attacked, and then you can call it to rearguard and shuffle your deck. So what you can do is this little loop combo between let's pull it out on the field here. So we have Yasuie Tenma, Yashibiyashi, and Tanba here. So you can do this thing with Tanba. So Yashibiyashi, when it's placed on rearguard, let's just say that we already soul blasted one, and the crit is what we soul blasted. So what you can do is you can attack with this, right? And then let's say it didn't hit, right? You just counterblast 1. So let's give ourselves 1 random counterblast. So you can counterblast 1, right? And you can call a card with that same name to Rearguard Circle. So I'm calling Yashibiyashi, right? So since I'm calling Yashibiyashi, let's just assume that I have Soul. Like, this combo basically can continue with Yashibiyashi as long as you have Soul. Or if your opponent is a 9k Vanguard, if they're like, I don't know, Fadla from Shadow Paladins. It would be really unfortunate for them, but yeah. So you can call that, and then you can use Tamba's skill to put a normal unit to the bottom of your deck. And then Tamba gets 3k in case you get a stand trigger later on because you haven't attacked with your Vanguard yet. And then you can just attack again for 11k because this would be 11k. So you just attack 11k, and since the first attack didn't hit with Yashibiyashi, you would countercharge 1, and you can give Tamba another 2k. So basically what happens again is when you don't hit with this, you can use the skill to countercharge 1, and choose one of your units. It gets plus 2k, right? And then you use Yasui's skill to counter blast 1, search your deck for Yashibiyashi, play over it, and then you use the skill to Soul Blast, get plus 2000 power, and then Tamba's skill sends this Yashibiyashi back to the deck again, and you just start over from scratch. So depending on how many times your opponent can block that, it's really dependent on how much soul you have, which is why you want to build up a lot of soul before you use that combo turn. But yeah, moving on to the final strides and G-Guardians that we have in the deck. We have 2 Homura Raider. Homura Raider, like I explained before, is basically a restander. You counterboss 2 and flip itself in the G zone to activate its skill. And then when you attack a Vanguard, you can, at the end of the battle, choose one of your rear guards. Choose 3 rear guards with the same name as that rear guard. Return those 3 units to your deck. Shuffle and restand this unit. So it's a pretty good card for finishing your opponent. Then we have 1 Hogan Wing. Hogan Wing says when you choose one of your grade 1 or greater rear guards and search your deck for 1 card with the same name, call it a guard circle, shuffle your deck, and then until the end of the battle, that unit gets, when it's put into the drop zone, put it to the bottom of the deck. Meaning that when you guard with it, and you might worry about like, oh, I won't have this card in my deck, you get to search a card from your deck, call it to the Guardian Circle to help guard your attack, and then at the end of the turn, the called unit goes to the bottom. So that's also very helpful in making sure that your copies are there for you to copy, like you don't damage check or draw them because they're at the bottom of your deck. So it's very good. Then we run 3 Shishi Yuzuki. Shishi Yuzuki, yeah. So this card can only effectively block Vanguard to Vanguard attacks. But you choose one of your rear guards, you move it to the guard circle. That unit gets plus 5,000 shield till the end of the battle, which means that you can also do it with grade 3s. And then you can search your deck for up to one card with the same name as that unit and call it to guard circle and shuffle your deck. Meaning that, let's say that I was going to G-Guard with it. I would choose Tamba. Tamba goes, well, actually, let's choose Yashibiyashi. Yashibiyashi goes to the guard circle and gains 10, so that's already a 36k guard. And then I can choose another Yashibiyashi and guard with it, so that's 41, which on most strides is a 3 to pass or a 2 to pass. So it's a very, very good G-Guard. I prefer to run more of those than Hogan Wing, because Hogan Wing pretty much max hits 31 in this deck, unless you oh yeah, it will definitely always hit just 31. I was thinking about using it with the starter, but I would have to run 2 starters, and that would be less space for other things, so we did not run that. Anyways, getting into the matches, we're gonna restart our card fight area here. And then we are gonna load our replay here. Alright, so first game we are playing against Dark Irregulars. We do get a grade 1, 2, and 3, which is cool. We're starting off, so I ride the Stride Fodder, and I end my turn. Partly because I wanted to keep Tamba in my hand. I might have been a little greedy when I did that. But, you know, I think it works out in the end. I don't really remember this match because I pre-recorded it a few days before, but I don't remember if I won or not. So I do remember at this part I attempted to guard with Hidden Scroll, but then I didn't guard because I realized that I had Fudo Blast in my hand and I needed a Counter Blast to use that. So I used Fudo Blast skill to discard Tamba because I got Onibiyashi on my drive check and I wanted that even more. So I attack with 18, which obviously he's not going to guard. And we attacked with our rear guard first because we run stand triggers. So then we attack 16, and we do check a crit. So it is a very good start for us. We already have our opponent at 3 damage, and we're sitting at 11k Vanguard. I was supposed to put, okay, yeah, so I did put this grade 2 back to the deck. Right now he's using Demented Executioner skill, and he's going to put the Were Tiger Jaeger to the soul, and I believe he's going to counterboss 1 draw, if I'm not mistaken, after he puts all these cards back. He's playing pretty slowly. Oh, so I guess he doesn't use Warrior Tiger skill. Maybe he forgot about it. But then he just attacks 16. He drive checks, and I check a critical, giving it to my Vanguard. So he couldn't hit me even without the trigger, which is the great thing about 11k Vanguard. So we could have played our grade 2 here, but we didn't because it has an on-place GB generation break skill. So we decided to just save it. I checked 2. I do end up checking a grade 3 and another grade 2. So it is very good because that means our first stride turn is going to be very strong should we survive his. So he does stride. He rides Charlotte Vampire. He goes into this stride, and he soul charges 2, which I'm just now realizing that he had 6 cards in his soul. So when he attacked, he was supposed to like tell me that I was supposed to retire a rear guard. because I totally forgot about Charlotte Hots on ride skill or whatever. But he uses the darkness skill, the stride, to soul charge 2, and then I forgot that it also had an on hit to destroy one of my rear guards. So really, both of these rear guards were supposed to be gone because I choose to no guard the attack, but I totally forgot. If I had not forgotten, I would have just PG'd and I would have gotten rid of Onibayashi here. But because I check a crit, he can't hit me with his rear guard. He does try to use the skill here of Demented Executioner, and I do let him know that it is a only activation skill, and he doesn't realize that it's an act skill. So he's pretty much forced to take back his attack, and then it's my turn. So I do draw another grade 3. We go to stride, and we are going into so that one of the best things about this deck is not having to use cards from your hand to call a board. It's like it's amazing. So basically, okay, so I just got a little alert that my MacBook might die. So we'll see if we can finish out this match, and then we will just add the clip of match 2 and 3 to it. So we're using Onifundo skill. So we do call Ikkyo. And then we do call Yasuie off of the stride skill. And when we call Ikkyo, that was very good that we got it off the starter, because now we get to Yasuie Goma. And when I Yasuie Goma, we call it to the back row behind the Vanguard, because I'm planning on using Ikkyo to allow my Yasuie Goma to attack from the back row. So EQ does get 2k for every unit with Yasuie in its name. So I do play Yashibayashi and give it skill too. So if my opponent was really, I can't really say if it was a smart decision to guard this or not, as it just warrants me another attack. But if he did choose to take it, he would just be at 5 damage, which might even be worse for him. So I do use Shadowstitch, giving 2k to Yasuie Goma, and it can attack from the back row. And then I use the skill of the Vanguard to draw a card and put the stand trigger on the bottom of my deck. And then I attack with 11k from the back row. Something that's really stupid about Area is they don't have a way to attack from back row, like without the unit boosting. But he does check a trigger, which proves that it would have been great for him to just take the first attack. But my laptop is going to die, so let's see if I can run and get the charger really quick. And I'm back, guys. We had to go run and get our charger really quick because we definitely did not want our computer to die while we were recording this. But we were just gonna run the same Yasuie recording back, but this time I'm gonna play it slightly faster so we get to all the good parts. So it is going a lot faster here, as you can see. I ride stride fodder. And this person was taking a while. I also dislike about Area is that like they should just keep track of whenever a move is made. That way when you play back the recording, everything just looks like very fluid. But instead it takes the actual amount of time that the person took or whatever. So if the person was like, oh, I'm going to the bathroom, then you have to wait all the time that they go to the bathroom, and aka I can't really keep that match because it would just take forever. Even if I sped it up times 2, it's like still 5 minutes if they took a 10-minute bathroom break or 2 minutes or something, which is far too long to wait. But we are doing our grade 2 turn right now, as we discussed before. I believe we were at my stride turn when I had to go get my charger. So, which was stupid of me because I should have just had my laptop charging before I started recording the video. But oh well, you know, we all forget things. So he is forced to, something I forgot to mention the first time around, he is forced to play a booster for his Vanguard because otherwise he wouldn't be able to hit Fudo Blast. So it's very good that he is being forced to play another card, and then he wouldn't have been able to hit us. We do just attack him with Vanguard here. I believe we check a grade 3 and a grade 2. Yeah. And now he's at 4 damage, which is an ideal situation for us. We were supposed to retire these two, but really the only difference is that Onibayashi, the grade 1 here, would have been gone because I would have just PG'd in order to keep this Onifundo because I want this card. I mean, I really want both, but with Scars on Stride Skill, I have no choice. But this, I do have a choice because it's if it hits. So, yeah. However, if I PG'd it, I would have had to take or block Demented Executioner skill, which I'm pretty sure I would just be taking 2 damage anyways. Yeah. So, I take 2 damage here, I get a crit. And then, yeah, and then I would have just had to take that rear guard attack anyways. So it wouldn't have mattered much. Alright, so back to where we were before. We are striding here. And we are going into Yasuie Goma. So, Yasuie Goma, we're going to use the on-stride Yasuie skill to, it also gets you stride fodder for the next turn, which is so brilliant in my opinion. Like, there's so many things that you don't have to worry about when you're playing this deck, and it's also so, like, satisfying. But you, we're using Soul Blast 1, and look at the top 3 for Onifundo here, so we are getting a 10k back to our hand for free. And then EQ is going on board from that. And then when it's placed on rear guard, it's supposed to get 2k. Or sorry, it's supposed to get 4k. Because, yeah, so it's supposed to get 4k. Because of these two both being on the board, which I neglected. But it didn't really make a difference because it wasn't boosted by anything, so it's the same number as if it was 11k. So we do use Yashibayashi to Soul Blast. And then we attack EQ, with EQ, sorry. And then he intercepts, which allows us to use Shadowstitch. And it allows Onibayashi to gain its on-hit skill. So it was like a doubly good move. Then we do use the draw 1, put a card to the bottom of the deck. So we will attack here with 11k from Yasha. And then he takes that one, I guess because he doesn't want me to countercharge 1. But, you know, that is what it is. However, here we do use Onibayashi skill to put it into the soul and draw a card countercharge 1. So we end up countercharging 1 anyways. So it's like doomed if you do, doomed if you don't type thing. Then we do attack 17. from the back row, and he guards. And then I Shadowstitch to draw one and put one to the bottom of the deck. And then we attack Vanguard for 26. He does PG us, and we check 1, check 2, and check 3 is stand trigger. So we decide to give power to the grade 3 and stand Yasuie Goma. Then we draw 1, put 1 card to the bottom of our deck. And then he guards us, so we get to use the skill twice this time. So it's pretty much like a lot of triggers in our deck now. So Yasuie Goma goes back to the G zone. I don't know why right here it went to the drop zone. It's because when you place cards in the drop zone from area to the drop zone, even if they're strides, it won't register as a stride unless you put it on the guard circle, then send it to the drop zone from there. Also, this Yasuie, since it didn't hit, it was supposed to return itself to my hand, and I forgot about that. But that's just, you know, another bonus. So here he goes into Gilderize, and he only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 soul. And he uses the skill of the Were-Tigers, I think, but I don't think he was aware that those just basically like Were-Tiger just takes itself out of your soul so that you can add it to your hand. So it wasn't really doing anything to his soul, which is, you know, weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 13. However, I do not know why he's soul charged 2. Maybe he's soul charged 2 for Gilderai or for Scarlet Hot Vampire. But I think at this point he realizes that he can't do anything. There's no cards in his soul that he can soul blast and do any effects with or anything like that. And his Gilderides is just sitting at, you know, 13k or whatever. So he does just attack me, and I just normal PG it because, you know, why not? I do not want him to crit me to death. Which is funny because we wouldn't have actually died. Or sorry, we would have, because it does still have the 2 crit from its skill. So we do use Yasui's skill to copy a Yashibiyashi and put it to the rearguard circle. And we do have 1 soul, so we do soul blast that so that Yashibiyashi can get 2k. And then we use Goma to call 2. So if this card was in my hand, we wouldn't have this problem, but I wanted the Yasuie Goma to be in the front row. So what I end up doing is I say, what the hey, he has like 5 cards in his hand, and I want to make 2 22k columns and this Yashibiyashi. So I think I replaced Yasui and Yashibiyashi over here with 2 of the Onibiyashi. If I'm not mistaken, that is. Yeah, I did. So then we attack for 22, or sorry, we attack with 11 first, in case he checks the heal trigger. So, yeah, we attack 11 first. And then he does choose to take it, and he does 6 damage heal, so we're pretty smart in doing it that way first, because it wouldn't have been able to hit. So we attack 22 this time, and I think he just takes it, realizing that he was going to die anyways. So that ends up being the end of that game. Moving on to our next game. Oh boy. Alright, moving on to our next Yasuie game. We are against Aqua Force this time. So, we do get a grade 1, 2, and new Yasuie as our 3, so we're pretty happy about that. Although Fudo Blast would have been amazing to have in this matchup. Especially since we're going second. But basically, he just passed turn when it was his turn to go first because he didn't have a grade 1. And then now that it's his turn again, he's G-assisting for a grade 1, which is really sucky. And plus, he has this grade 3 in his hand, which is, I don't even know why he runs that card, but you know. He attacks 6k. I do no guard it. And he does check a heal, so he does get to hit me. And then I draw Fudo Blast, which is amazing. So I counter boss 1, and I discard a Yashibiyashi so that I can call a Fudo Blast from my deck. And then I think I also call a EQ here, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken. Yeah, I think I wanted to keep it for in case I didn't get Stride Fodder. So attack 16, and I check another Fudo Blast, which is, you know, whatever. And this also allows you to play this game with your opponent, where if you have a second one innately, you can just stay on grade 2 and play the grade 2 game with them while you're on 11k Vanguard. So, but I don't want to do that, so I do just choose to ride. And then I attack him for 16. I check a stand trigger and a heal trigger, so I do heal the damage. He ends up riding Crestus, so he counter boss 1, soul blast 1, looks at the top 5 for a wave card, and he doesn't get it, I believe. So then he goes into the Thavish Stride and uses Adelaide skill. I'm guessing that he went to the Thavish Stride partly because it's useful, but mainly because he had Adelaide in his hand, and he realized that without a Yasuie, Mitros and Adelaide would be useless. So he just checked or used the starter skill, which is going to make that Yasuie, or sorry, not Yasuie, that Thavis bounce back to hand. So he does check a crit and a heal, which is very good for him. But I do check a trigger of my own, and then I choose to G-guard. And not use the skill of Hogan Wing, basically. And we are being forced to stride with 2 cards here, which is pretty upsetting. But overall it's fine, I guess. So we do go into, I think I still ended up going into Yasuie Goma here. Yeah, because we could have used one of the GB2 strides, but there wasn't really like a good reason. Unless I went to Shibaraku Buster, but it's like, even then, it's like still not a good reason to Shibaraku Buster yet. Especially when I had a Soul Blast just now for Onifundo. So we Soul Blast for Onifundo, and we get Onibiyashi, which is good. Keeps us in a good spot. And then we Goma to get a rear guard. And we move both of these to the back row so that we can play 2 EQs. So we attack for 15. Oh, so one of the best things about EQ is that if your EQ is a lower power than their Vanguard, like meaning if he checks a trigger here, that's fine because you can still attack with the other EQ, and then literally just make your make your card attack from the back row. So we attack 33. to his Vanguard, which I probably should have attacked with the other rearguard first just to give the Shadowstitch skill. So we do check a crit. He gets a draw trigger and then a crit trigger. So his luck is holding up so far. But we do attack with EQ to use Shadowstitch to give the back row Yasuie 2k and use the skill. And then we do attack with the back row Yasuie, Shadowstitch just to return to the hand. And then we draw a card and put a card on the bottom. We choose to keep these heal triggers for defensive purposes. Yasuie Goma goes back to the deck. So he does ride Thavis and strides. Like, for someone who is in a bad situation, he got really, really lucky, I feel like, with all the triggers to put him back into the game almost. So yeah, here he goes into Wailing Thavis, and he attacks 9 to my rearguard, and then he attacks for 11, and then he attacks with Wailing Thavis, basically retiring my board and using its skill. Thank goodness he didn't check anything like super broken in his checks. So we do go into Yasuie Goma again. And we use Yasuie's skill to call a Yasuie from our deck. Really, I could have just Goma'd, and yeah, I just choose the Goma and call 2 Gomas out. I think I counterbossed one and I went into my deck and there was no more grade 3 Yasui's. Yeah, because there's 2 new ones in the drop zone. One's on my Vanguard circle, and one's in my hand. So, but we did get Tanba here, which is cool. Other than that, there's not much that we can do. I probably should have played this crit right here. So he does guard. And of course I do Shadowstitch. Draw a crit, put back a crit. Then I Tanba skill, putting a new Yasuie back to the deck. And then I attack for 36. And he G-guards. So 31, 41. That's 1 to pass because he doesn't realize that I'm not 33. And then he throws on a 5 for a 2 to pass. I check 1, check 2, and check 3 critical. I put it all on the rearguard circle, and then I use Shadowstitch to draw and put back a critical. Then I use Tanba's skill to put a card back to the bottom, and then I attack him for 20 with a crit. So he chooses to... Can't remember what he chooses to guard with here. He chooses to guard with 2 grade 1s from his hand, and then I use the Shadowstitch ability. It's pretty crappy for us, to be honest, because like he just has so many resources in his hand. So he does go into Lambros here, which is not great for us, but we do check a trigger though, which is good because he can't like attack us all out. So he does attack us with Lambros, And PG. I don't know why I retired Tamba. Oh, I retired it because of Thavis skill. So he does check another heal trigger, keeping him alive for even longer, which is unfortunate. But we do guard with a 5k here, and then he draws 2 cards, and then we guard with one of our G guards, and we can't use the skill because, first of all, we don't have rear guards, but second of all, it can only use its skill when you're guarding a Vanguard. So we decided to go into Shibaraku Buster, use the Yasuie skill to call a grade 3 Yasuie that we put back last turn, and then we use Cat Devil to move it into the soul, and then we use Shibaraku Buster. So we Soul Blast 2, discard a card, and we choose a card from our drop zone and return it to our deck. I can't remember the exact reason why I decided to, oh, it's because, yeah, I forgot that it's the card that you call. So I put back a Yasuie so that I could call a Yasuie, basically, because I didn't have one in there already. And then I'm pretty sure I realized that this has to be the first attack. Hopefully. Okay, so I just gave this one the twin drive. I mean, it has to be given to this one, but ultimately it doesn't matter because they're like the same column and they're the same card. So oh, okay, so I did this intentionally. Okay. That's funny. Okay, and then he told me, yeah. So I did this intentionally, stupidly. But yeah, misplays are misplays. So I thought that Shibaraku Buster worked the same way as the new Alfred Stride, but unfortunately we're not Royal Paladin, so Bushiroad doesn't give us fair things. So I went to go check if that was correct, and I did see that it was correct. So I attack him with 11k, and he does 2 to pass. Yeah, and then he thought I have 1 drive check only, but I actually have 2 because I'm a grade 3. And yeah, he starts telling me to read a card carefully. These are the things you have to go through when you play area. Like, people just don't know skills. But to be fair, I didn't know the skill of Shibaraku Buster that well right before this. But also, to be fair, I guess Bushiroad should word their cards more carefully. So then he goes to look up if I can get Twin Drive. Oh boy. Still long games because of stuff like this. Like it's even longer than the recording is making it seem because the video is sped up. But I'm pretty sure with like all the random resources he's been getting to live, like that he's gonna survive and win probably. But yeah, he gives me a 2 to pass. I do check a critical, giving. I should have gave the crit to Vanguard and power to Rearguard. But yeah, he does PG. Then I do my triple drive and check 3 non-triggers, which is really unfortunate. I should have attacked this Magnum Assault earlier, but I guess I wasn't really thinking about it. Because I thought I was going to be able to kill him. So he does draw and stride, and then go into a second Willing Thavis. Then he attacks my Vanguard, no hit. And I don't really know if it would have mattered because we can't PG Willing Thavis, but this Yasuie was supposed to return to my hand when it didn't hit. Actually, it wasn't, because I attacked a rear guard, and it has to attack a Vanguard. And he attacks with that just to draw 2 cards, and then he draws a PG and a heal trigger, like, so much survivability off of checks and stuff, like, sadness. But basically we have to depend on getting ourselves a heal trigger here, which I probably know is not going to happen, because I'm just not that lucky. But yeah, he does check a crit, and I take my last damage, and I end up losing that one. But moving on to the last and final match. Hopefully this one goes leagues faster than the other did. So this time we're playing against Gear Chronicle, which I feel like I'd rather play against than the Aqua Force player I just played. But we do get kind of like a bad hand because we don't have a 3. So this seems to be like Idea Drone Gear Chronicle, like a Chrono Fang deck. So we do attack for 14. He no guards, and he rides a grade 2 and just attacks me. I no guard, he gets a crit. And then there's the grade 3 new Yasuie that we need. We've decided to just stay on grade 2. We don't play the other grade 2 that we have to the rearguard circle because it wouldn't be able to attack without itself. We do check a heal, putting us back down to 2, thankfully. He draws Prosepia Ideal Drone, that card, but he doesn't ride, which is weird. I think he thinks that I'm trying to intentionally play the grade 2 game with him. And so I just attack him, just cuz. And then he said, really, no ride? So I guess he's trying to bait me into riding when I don't have a grade 3. But then I no guarded that, and he checks a crit. And then I check a crit, and another new Yasuie, which I get really sad about at this point. But like, we G-assist, and it's most likely going to be old Yasuie just because new Yasuie is 2 of them are in our damage zone, and it wasn't looking like a good chance of checking them. I wish the Onifundo could use its skill as soon as you stride, but I guess that would be too good or something. But we do get rid of 2 Yasuie Gomas because I want to use more late game strides. So we can't use Yasui's skill because this is what I was talking about it being bad. If you don't have any like targets that you can copy on the field, like it's not great. So we do call new Yasuie to the field. And then we do use Yasuie Goma to flip a Yasuie Goma and call it to the rear guard circle. And we don't have any grade 1s to boost, but we do move it back and play our Ikkyo combo. And then we have 2 Yashibiyashi, so it's looking pretty solid, like a pretty solid amount of attacks right now. I'm not quite sure. Oh, okay. I do know why I didn't play the other Yashibiyashi. I just didn't have any soul. That's why. However, I could have used Cat Devil and then used Yashibiyashi, but, you know. Shadowstitch, and then Shadowstitch give 2k to Goma, and then it can attack from the back row. Then I attack with 17 from the back row. He guards. Or then he takes it back and doesn't guard. So then I attack him for 11k. He guards it. And then I use Shadowstitch to put a card back and give a unit 2k. And I choose to give new Yasui 2k. And then I attack with Vanguard 26. And it seems that he doesn't have a PG, which is good for us. He no guards, and I do check a critical trigger. Like, thank the good lords above. But yeah, that was. And then you get to see him like overreact because I guess he didn't realize that he had 4 damage or something like that. But anyways, guys, that has been the Yasuie FutureFight. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe if you liked it. And check out all the awesome things that I have down in the links below or the description below. We have Wasteland Gaming, Win Condition, and ARG Circuit Series. I will be at New Jersey. The New Jersey Bushiroad qualifier, as well as in August there's going to be an ARG Nats for Vanguard, which I'm pretty sure that I will be at, as I'm getting free hotel and stuff like that. So that's awesome. Check out the Patreon in the links below, and if you want to buy a hoodie, the link for the hoodies is down below as well. But you guys have a great day, and this has been Cardfight Empire signing out, guys. Bye.